Hello and welcome to Flanigan's Wake, a Doof media podcast exploring, analyzing, and discussing the works of the filmmaker Mike Flanagan. My name is Scott Daly, and I will be your host. Joining me on this journey is my co-host, Matt Freeman. Matt, it's new podcast time. Are you excited? This, by the way, will be the only intro where I don't make a joke at your expense, just in this first one, just to get that out of the way.
I guess I'll make the most of it. Yes, I'm excited. I'm a little terrified because scary, scary movies, but I'm very excited.
I thought for a second there you meant terrified because we're doing a new show and it's you got those new show jitters, but no, it's just because the movies are spookies.
Oh, that too. I historically and famously don't do well with scary movies, and now you've got me doing a scary movies podcast
Why
somehow.
did you, why did you agree to this?
I don't know exactly. But here we are, and hopefully that ends up being entertaining for everyone. Because for the next 100 weeks or so, we will be setting our sights on Mike Flanagan's films and television shows, and of course the books and short stories that he adapted. Many of those shows and movies from. We'll be heading through Mike's work chronologically, starting with Absentia and finishing up with currently Fall of the House of Usher, but by the time we get there, Life of Chuck, his Exorcist movie, and possibly even Carrie will be out. So we'll do that too.
Yeah, we're doing a filmmaker that is still very much active and very very busy. So we will continue to roll the show out as he continues to make things.
Ho- Hopefully we catch up.
I mean, look, I think we're going to be good in that. I think as detailed as we are, I think we can produce podcasts faster than he can produce television shows. I just have a feeling.
We'll see.
I think if you're familiar with Matt and I's work, you can expect the show to be sort of a hybrid between the shows that came before it. We'll be chatting about the movies and television shows of Mike Flanagan, similar to how we do the Doofcast. And when we get to the books and short stories that those are adapted from, we will be doing our chapter by chapter deep analysis that you've seen in our other shows and you love. So I think you're going to feel very at home in this new show.
Yeah, and if you're entirely new, hello. For the past 10 or so years, Scott and I have been doing deep dives into books and movies that we love. We started with We've Got Worm, a close read and analysis podcast of the superhero web serial Worm and its sequel Ward. And then from there, we dove into Stephen King, and we spent the last 5 years on Kingslingers, first making our journey to the Dark Tower, which was my first
Mhm.
journey, and then covering dozens of other King novels that make up Stephen King's universe.
But we wanted to do something else, and that's why we are here. I think the best way to describe our show, Matt, is kind of like a hybrid between serious analysis, book club, and also, you know, nonsense.
Yeah. We like to have fun here, but also for us, fun involves some pretty detail oriented discussions.
Spending 2 hours talking about 100 pages of a book. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We also prescribe to a motto here at Doof Media that some of you new people might not have heard before, which is the author is a genius and everything is intentional. And I think that expands to the filmmaker as well. And all this means necessarily is we're not saying everything is good and everything is awesome, but we are kind of saying we want to approach the media we consume with a charitable and open minded view set that hey, if you don't like something, let's examine why. Maybe you're just not understanding it. Maybe it was supposed to be that way, and the way you're feeling about it is the way the filmmaker or writer wanted you to. I think it's a really fun way of looking at things. I think it allows you to appreciate art a little bit more and at a different level than you have before, and that's kind of how we like to approach everything we do.
Yeah. One way of looking at it is to see things as choices rather than mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. We also really, really love Mike Flanagan. I think we should be clear here. I have seen basically everything Mike has done. I think the exception was the first movie we're going to be talking about next week, Absentia, and then I think one of his television shows, The Midnight Club. I haven't seen all of. So I am, I guess, technically in this dynamic, the quote unquote expert. Whereas you, Matt, I think are once again falling into the newbie role. I think you've seen more Mike Flanagan stuff than you had read Stephen King stuff originally. But still, you've got quite a bit to catch up on, I think.
Especially the TV shows.
Yeah,
I've only really watched Midnight Mass out of all those shows. So
sure. Yeah. That has me very excited. I think this is going to be really great. So yeah, Matt will still be coming at this from the newbie perspective. We've also got a lot of books that we have to read that you have not read, Matt. And I've read some of, but not all of them. So I think it's going to be a nice mix of everything we've been doing. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think Mike Flanagan poses an interesting challenge for us, Matt, because with our books, you know, you have an author and he wrote the book. And I'm not saying he wrote the book alone because you have editors, you have readers that look at stuff and offer advice. But I think auteur theory holds up in a novel a lot more than it holds up in a television show or a movie where the director and writer might be the driving force of everything you see on the screen, but it is still made up of hundreds, sometimes thousands of other people. So I think throughout the course of the show, we are going to give a lot of credit to Mike Flanagan and the choices that he makes from a writing perspective, from a directing perspective, from what have you. But we just do want to acknowledge that he is surrounding himself with a team of people that is also doing great work. So when we compliment something, we are complimenting Mike Flanagan et al. Essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, we'll spend a lot of time talking about, acting and music
Yeah,
and choices like this that are clearly not him actually doing the thing, but he's generally got his hand on the tiller. So
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so we are very excited. If you're curious what the show schedule looks like, you can find that in the show notes of this introduction episode, and every single episode will have a link to the Excel spreadsheet document that has our show schedule in it. To give you like a quick overview, we're going to start and spend the next 5 weeks on the early films of Mike Flanagan, starting with Absentia, then moving through Ouija: Origin of Evil. Then Matt, we get to be reunited with our friend Stephen King as we spend 7 weeks reading Gerald's Game before
Yay.
tackling Flanagan's adaptation of that story. Then we move into the TV stuff. We'll be moving through Hill House and Bly Manor, and of course the stories that those were based on. We'll also take a look at the novel Doctor Sleep before watching Flanagan's director's cut of that film. And then it's on to Midnight Mass, the only one that you have seen. So we'll be taking another look at Midnight Mass. I'm very excited about that one. And then we move on to something that I've never read, which is Christopher Pike's The Midnight Club, which is a teen horror novel that was adapted into a television series that I have not seen all of. I watched the first few episodes, but I haven't seen all of it. And then we're going to wrap everything up with Edgar Allan Poe, a fun guy to wrap everything up with, and Flanagan's wonderful adaptation. One of my favorites, The Fall of the House of Usher. So that's a full schedule. We're currently booked for 100 and something episodes. We also have, as Matt said, The Life of Chuck is coming out sometime next year. By the time we get to this point in the schedule, that movie will have been out, so we'll, I'm sure, cover that. He's also got an Exorcist movie slotted to come out sometime in the next couple of years. And yeah, the during our break, the news broke that he's going to be doing an 8 episode adaptation of Stephen King's Carrie. So of course we got to do that. And then Matt, and then there's the Dark Tower, right?
Yeah,
One day there's the Dark Tower.
that will definitely happen.
Hmm.
I'm sure
And
of
we
it.
will talk about it for sure.
Yep. Just for everyone's information, you can always find us on our YouTube channel at Doof Media, our email where you can contact us with questions and feedback is flanaganswakepod@gmail.com. Our Instagram is at Doof Media, and our Twitter handle is at Flanagan'sWake19. Little Stephen King reference for you there. Uh, and of course the subreddit, which is quite active and is probably the best place to go for active discussions of the episodes as they come out, is reddit.com/r/doof media.
Yeah. So they had Flanagan's Wake and Flanagan's Wake Pod on Twitter were all taken, so I needed something to put there, so I just threw a 19 in there for fun. Um, how did someone take Flanagan's Wake Pod? That's what I want to know.
I don't know,
This name is too brilliant for anyone else to have come up with it.
it's nonsense.
So that's Flanagan's Wake. Everything is going to begin next week, Thursday, January 16th. Episodes will come out every Thursday morning for the foreseeable future. And we're going to start with Absentia and then go from there. So we hope you guys are excited. We certainly are. We can't wait to get started. In fact, as soon as we finish this recording right here, we are going to get started. We're going to record our very first episode. And I'm just so pumped about it. So Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope to see you in the first episode.
That's right. See you there.